You can save money without even thinking about it. If you listen to most financial gurus, they'll tell you that saving requires constant willpower. How many times have you seen advice to cut out your morning coffee or to stop going out all the time? The truth is, saving money and setting up your financial future isn't something that you can do well without a plan. Which is why I'm going to share the exact framework to set up your financial foundation and turn this impossible sounding idea of automating your savings into a system that you can use no matter how much money you have to your name. My name is Kaelan Fitzpatrick. I'm a certified financial planner who has managed over $4 billion in client assets, and this is the exact framework that has helped my clients gain clarity on their financial past, present, and future. By the end of this video, you will know the exact steps you need to take to set up your financial foundation and completely automate your savings. And after I'm done explaining what the steps are, I'm going to show you how to set it up in real time. Let's start with step 1, which is establishing a budget. I want you to think of your budget as your personal income statement. It shows you exactly where you have a surplus or where you're running at a loss. It's essential information to know so you can make informed decisions about your money and give every dollar a responsibility. But not all expenses are created equally. So what are the differences? Essential expenses are the must-have in your budget. These are the costs you can't avoid and are necessary for your daily life. Think of things like rent or mortgage payments, utilities like electricity, water, gas, your grocery bill, transportation, insurance. On the other hand, discretionary expenses are the nice-to-haves. These are the things you choose to spend money on, but they aren't necessary for your basic needs. Examples here could be things like dining out, entertainment such as movies or concerts, hobbies you might have, vacations, or even luxury items, things like designer clothing, gadgets, for example. Make sure you're prioritizing your essential expenses first, and then see what you can afford for the discretionary ones. There are many ways to create a budget that fits your style. You can use budgeting apps, Excel templates, or even create your own from scratch. The key is to find a method that works for you and stick with it consistently. Yup. That means you have to update it. Once you have a clear picture of where you need to and want to spend money, you'll be able to see where and how much you can start saving. Here's some great budgeting apps. Now that you've established a budget, you need to set clear financial goals to guide your savings and investment decisions. Which brings us to step 2, which is defining savings goals. Knowing what you want, when you want it by, and how much you'll need is crucial for creating a solid financial plan. I love how powerful this quote from Greg Reed is. A dream written down with a date becomes a goal broken down into steps becomes a plan backed by action becomes reality. To turn a dream into reality, you need to have a strong foundation backed by an action plan. Before we get to thinking about the fun stuff, we need to make sure you're in a position to start saving. Let's talk about something called bad debt. Debt becomes bad when it's negatively impacting your financial health and doesn't offer long-term benefits. Here's 3 ways we can look at this. High interest rates. Debts with high interest rates like credit card debt and payday loans can quickly accumulate and become difficult to manage. Aggressively focus on paying this down to free up your cash flow. Unmanageable payments. If monthly payments are too high relative to your income, it can strain your budget and lead to missed payments or worse, eliminate your ability to save. That can really damage your credit score and your future plans. Lack of long-term benefits. Taking out debt for discretionary or depreciating items such as luxury goods and vacations typically doesn't provide long-term financial benefits. This can drain your resources without adding value to your financial life. As you might have noticed, bad debt can trap you in a cycle of borrowing to pay off existing debt, leading to continuous and escalating financial burdens. Managing debt responsibly and avoiding high-interest, non-essential borrowing can help prevent debt from becoming bad debt. If you're already trapped in a debt cycle, hit the link in the description to learn how to get back on track. So you have a budget, no bad debt, and you're ready to start saving. But where do you start? That brings us to step 3, which is creating an emergency fund. This money is set aside specifically for short-term, unexpected expenses. Think of it as your financial safety net. Imagine your car breaks down, you have an unexpected medical bill, or you lose your job. An emergency fund helps you cover those costs without going into debt or detracting from other savings goals. It should give you peace of mind. Having one means you're prepared for life surprises and can handle them without stress. It also helps you avoid bad debt. Instead of turning to credit cards or loans, you can use your emergency fund, then replenish the balance with future savings. So how do you start building an emergency fund? Number 1, know your minimum. Aim to save 3 to 6 months worth of your essential expenses. There's no right or wrong amount, but this should be your minimum. Number 2, separate it. Keep your emergency fund in a separate account from where you spend day to day. You don't want to accidentally spend the balance on non-urgent things. Number 3, treat it as essential. If your balance is not at the level you want it to be yet, treat it as an essential expense and set up automatic transfers or direct deposit until you hit your target. Building an emergency fund might take time, but it's worth it. Start small, stay consistent, and you'll be more prepared for whatever life throws your way. After your emergency fund is taken care of, you need to prepare for our 4th step, which is what I call short-term needs. This is money you don't need for your emergency fund, but you know that you're going to have to spend in a short period of time, typically within the next 3 to 5 years. Think down payments, vacations, a new car, your wedding, a tuition bill. Similar to your emergency fund, keep a stash of cash separated so that you can cover these expenses without disrupting your long-term savings or going into debt. Because of the short time frame, this money shouldn't be invested in variable or high-risk investments. We want to guarantee it's there when you need it and utilize a fixed product. This sounds great, but what do you actually do? Number 1, set clear goals. Start by identifying what you're saving for and how much it'll cost. This will be your target to aim for. Number 2, create a timeline. Determine the date you want or need to spend it on. This will let you calculate the exact amount to save from every paycheck. And number 3, automate it. Set up direct deposit into an account dedicated to your short-term needs before you even see the money you'll be saving. By planning ahead and saving consistently, you'll be able to meet your short-term financial goals without stressing. And there you have it, the 4-step system to automate your savings and finally get control of your financial future. First is establishing a budget. Second is defining your savings goals. Third is building an emergency fund. And 4th is preparing for short-term needs. Now I'm going to get to the part where I show you exactly how to set this up. But before that, if you're enjoying this video, please hit the subscribe button. Let's walk through an example client profile. We'll name this person Alex to keep things confidential. Alex is 30, makes $100,000 per year paid bi-weekly, rents an apartment with his partner, and carries student loan debt. Let's follow our 4 steps, starting with their budget. Not every client I work with has a budget, but Alex was a step ahead and provided this budget template from Fidelity. Before diving into the details, let's take a look at the overview. Annual income is $100,000. Monthly household take-home pay before taxes is approximately $8,300. And if we scroll all the way to the bottom here, we can see that monthly total expenses are approximately $3,600. Asset Strategy believes in a 50, 15, 30, 5, whereas 50% of monthly take-home pay can or should be spent on essential expenses. 15% is saved for retirement, up to 30% is spent on discretionary items, and 5% is saved towards your emergency fund if your emergency fund balance is not at the desired minimum. Let's take a look in perspective of Alex's plan here. Alex is making approximately $8,300 per month before taxes. 50% of $8,300 is approximately $4,200, and currently, Alex is spending approximately $2,600 on his essential living expenses. What this signals is that Alex actually has some breathing room in his budget to increase his basic standard of living, or other words, those essential expenses. Now, for the sake of this video, we're not going into a retirement plan, so let's assume that Alex is saving 15% for retirement at the moment. We'll take a look at discretionary expenses. Now, discretionary expenses again signal that up to 30% of monthly take-home pay can be spent on those discretionary items that are more of the nice-to-haves, not the need-to-haves. Things like dining out and vacations, for example. 30% of Alex's take-home pay is approximately $2,100, and currently he is spending slightly less than $1,000 at $950 per month. This also signals that Alex has some breathing room to spend a little bit more on those nice-to-haves. Alex came to me as he didn't know how to start saving for an emergency fund and start setting money aside for things other than retirement. That remaining 5 signals that up to 5% from this monthly take-home pay should be saved to start building an emergency fund. Now that we understand that Alex's budget is healthy and gives him some breathing room to either save or spend more, let's lead to step 2 and talk about defining his savings goals. Now, because Alex came to me wanting to figure out how to build up his emergency fund and not having anything set aside for short-term needs, those are his first 2 savings goals. Once we can build up the emergency fund, that's when we can start looking towards short-term needs to start helping him save for things like his wedding or a down payment on a home. That leads us to our third step, which is building an emergency savings. As you remember from earlier, your emergency savings will help ensure that you're prepared for unexpected events that are expected to last less than 1 year and provide cash on hand at all times. Let's define how much your minimum should be. The general advice is to have 3 to 6 months worth of essential living expenses, separated from invested or day-to-day spending accounts, fully liquid, and earning a high rate of interest. But how do you know if you should have 3 months, 6 months, or somewhere in between? 3 months is suggested for a single income household with a stable job. 6 months is suggested for a dual income household with stable jobs. The human advice is to have whatever makes you comfortable, though 12 months is typically a maximum. So in the perspective of Alex's budget here, his essential monthly expenses are approximately $2,600. 3 times $2,600 is approximately $8,000. At a bare minimum, Alex should be working to build an emergency fund with a minimum balance of approximately $8,000. So how does he go about doing that? Well, look at the difference between his gross monthly take-home pay as well as his monthly living expenses. That's approximately $4,800. When we subtract off the 15% being saved for retirement, Alex has approximately $4,000 every single month left over to begin saving. What that means is Alex could certainly increase his essential or even his discretionary expenses, but part of that $4,000 left over every month should be working towards growing his emergency fund balance. Keep in mind, Alex is not paid monthly. Alex is paid on a bi-monthly basis, meaning if he has $4,000 left over at the end of every single month, what he has left over from every single paycheck is actually $2,000. Now let's assume Alex decides to commit the full $2,000 from every paycheck to build up his emergency fund savings. It would take him approximately 2 months to reach his minimum balance target of $8,000. From here, Alex can determine to do a couple different things. Continue to save towards his emergency fund and go beyond his minimum target, maybe increase his retirement savings, or to start to build up a balance for step 4, which is his short-term needs. In my conversations with Alex, we know that his short-term needs are a vacation for $5,000, purchasing an engagement ring for $6,000, and building up a down payment balance of $20,000, for a total of $31,000 that he needs within a 3-year time period. He doesn't know exactly when he's going to spend this money, he just knows he wants to spend it within 3 years on a vacation, an engagement ring, and a down payment for his first home. Knowing that we've accomplished building up Alex's emergency fund minimum of $8,000, Alex now has the full $2,000 from every single paycheck again to fully commit towards this $31,000 total he needs to save for short-term needs. So how does he go about actually saving for those items? There's 2 different ways he could focus on this. Number 1, he could have 3 different accounts. One for a travel goal, one for his engagement ring goal, and one for his down payment goal. Some people like that organization. Others are a little bit different. Maybe they just have one account where they're saving for all 3 of these goals in the same place. Either will work, but follow whatever is best for you to stay organized. For Alex, he decided to go with one account as it was just simple to look after. Now it's time to automate this. Alex has 2 options for how to do this. He could set up a direct deposit in his payroll for $2,000 to that account designated for his short-term needs. He'd be saving before he even saw the money, and he would just see that account start to grow. Or he can still receive his full paycheck to the account of his preference, typically a checking or a savings account for most people, but he will need to set up an automatic transfer in the amount of $2,000 every paycheck from that account to his short-term needs account. So how long would it take Alex to actually achieve his goal of saving $31,000 and being able to spend that money on a vacation, a down payment, and an engagement ring within a 3-year time period? By saving $2,000 every single paycheck, knowing he receives 24 paychecks throughout every single year, it would take Alex approximately 1.9 years to save the full $31,000. Well under the 3-year target that he has for himself. Now you have the exact same 4-step blueprint and a clear picture of how to actually do this yourself. But if you're a high-income earner and want this system custom built for you using advanced planning strategies, then let's just build it together. Click the first link in the description below to book a free 15-minute Wealth Foundation call with me and my team, or scan the QR code on the screen. We'll jump on a call, map out your current financial situation, and design an automation system built specifically for your lifestyle. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.